What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from AcTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about the Phoenician Scheme. Oh, and a scheme it is. What a scheme to convince the world that Wes Anderson is a great director. I'm kidding. I kid. I kid. It's a joke. Subscribe. Anyway, this is Wes Anderson's newest film. It stars Benicio Del Toro, Mia Thruppleton, Michael Cera, and then like a host of people that it doesn't star but line up to be in Wes Anderson movies. So we're going to talk about it. I'm blind. It's okay. Breathe in, breathe out. It'll be fine. We're going to get through this. So subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think about the movie. Tell your friends, all that good stuff. Join my cult following here on YouTube, where I talk about films with audio description. This does have audio description. I have no idea who does it because Peacock just really doesn't want me to ever watch credits to anything and likes to try to get me out as soon as humanly possible out of anything and push me into the next film. And that's where I watched the Phoenician Scheme. The good thing about Focus is for some reason, Focus Features movies like move to streaming like lickety-split. They're just, if I see something that is a Universal Focus Features release, I'm like, that's going to be on streaming in like 3 weeks. So, it's already out. Already watched it, already on streaming. It was barely on video on demand by itself. So it's a standalone because they got the pedal to the metal on Focus. They're just, let's get these movies out. What is the Phoenician Scheme? That is a great question. So here's the best way that I understand it without having other people explain it to me. Del Toro plays a guy who is part of this family. The man dies and leaves. Sort of like there's a will that splits everything up, and he's not really happy with his percentage. So he ends up sort of traversing the globe to try to get a controlling percentage of this thing. And I'm not really sure what that thing did, but he wants to get, so like throughout the film, we get the little notes about like who has what percentage of what, and who has the controlling stake, and watch his percentage go up and other people's percentages go down. He's joined along the way by Thruppleton, who plays a woman of the nunnery type. I don't know. Is she prays a lot? She might be from the nunnery. She might be like a novitiate. I kind of also missed on exactly what she is. And there's, I guess, a slight spoiler with her character that I don't want to dive into, so we won't go with that. But yeah, we're going to go with she's nunnish. I liked her character because she does just like pray randomly at times. And, but it's not done in a mocking way. It's just kind of funny when she does it, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it doesn't feel like Wes Anderson's trying to make fun of Christianity. It just feels like she's doing it at times that are funny. like one time before somebody takes a shot in basketball, she like drops and prays, and then to like make for him to make the shot. Anyway, and the best thing about this movie is Michael Cera, who plays a Bjorn, who is delightfully weird. And the fact that it took Michael Cera this long to work with Wes Anderson is like, did Wes Anderson just forget that Michael Cera exists? These two, like, it feels like Michael Cera is the muse that Wes Anderson has been missing. He's one of those actors that feels like, oh yeah, of course. Why haven't you worked with Wes Anderson? Duh. Or you just assume has worked with Wes Anderson. You're like, yeah, I loved Michael Cera. What did he do with Wes Anderson? Grand Buddha? No? Nothing? So now he's done something with Wes Anderson. He's really good in it. I enjoyed Michael Cera because his really sort of like odd brand of comedy, his humor, his sort of light touch on things is it works surprisingly well here. He's not the standout. He's like number three in terms of billing, so it would definitely be like a supporting role for him. But it's more substantial than everybody else in the cast. So it's the only three people. This is when some films bounce around a lot and there isn't really a clear lead. This one sort of has a clear lead with Del Toro and then branches off into Throbbleton and Cera like right sort of below him because they spend so much time with him. And there's some funny scenes and it moves around. It doesn't overstay its welcome too long. It's not my favorite Wes Anderson movie. It keeps bouncing back and forth. Del Toro does this thing where his character like dies and goes to heaven, and we see him up there, or I don't know that he's dying every single time. I think he just has like this brief sort of out of body experience where he's in heaven and he's talking to somebody in heaven and he's trying to figure out like what's going to be waiting for him in the afterlife. And so there's some cameos up there. There's a fun one for Bill Murray. I'm sure he enjoyed that. When he got that call, Wes was like, I need you to play. And Bill was like, all right, done. Let's do it. So I caught some of the cameos, like Tom Hanks and Scarlett Johansson stood out to me. But I don't know that anybody who's in the like the supporting cast necessarily like wowed me. It feels a little bit like the French Dispatch that way, where you're like, I mean, Willem Dafoe's in here. There are a bunch of people that you see sort of floating in and out of Wes Anderson movies, some newer faces like Riz Ahmed. I don't think has ever done a Wes Anderson movie before. So, yeah, I feel like he directed Grand Budapest Hotel, and then like most of his output in the last 10 years, because it was 10 years ago, that was 2015, hasn't really been great. He used up a lot of his juice to direct what might be one of his best movies. It's not my favorite, but it's up there. It's for me, it's really ever going to be hard to top Rushmore. I love Rushmore so much, but it does kind of feel like I keep watching these films like French Dispatch and Asteroid City that are just okay. Like, that was fine. Not great. I don't really ever want to see it again, need to see it again. Not stoked about owning it on any sort of physical media, DVD or... the thing about Wes Anderson, though, is that it's hard to completely and totally hate a movie of his. I think, like, I was running through his films in my head, and while I would rate some of them sort of lower on the fresh score, like just barely across the threshold type of thing, there's maybe only like one that I'd put below fresh. There's something about the quality that he brings to a film that is very cinematic in nature. It's like he understands how to use the medium of film, how to make a film look pretty, how to create characters and shape them in a way that is unique to himself and no one else is copying or seems to be able to do. He finds a way of telling sort of these offbeat, quirky stories with these characters that you would never meet. And that's sort of his brand. And maybe it's running out of steam, or maybe he's just in a rut. I don't know. I don't know what it is for him, but Phoenician Scheme in many ways feels like a more serious version of what he's been doing. Like, it's not trying to pull as many laughs. So maybe he's trying to grow up. Maybe he's maturing, in which case I think, good for him because he is getting older, but at the same time, part of that stuff that makes us love his early work is the whimsy behind it. So if he loses the whimsy and he just becomes sort of a pale version of what he used to be, he's still going to have some of the the flavor of the auteur stuff that he used to do, but not as much. And he's too young to already be losing his flavor, you know? It's like putting a piece of gum in your mouth and then 5 seconds later it's gone. You're like, that was too fast. I don't expect you to last forever. But I mean, we have directors in their 80s who maybe they're not kicking out their best work, but they still make interesting work. But they were making interesting work when they were 70. They were making more interesting work when they were 60. Wes Anderson is not so old that he should already be feeling like he's in the Ridley Scott making Napoleon stage of his career, or this isn't Megalopolis. We're not there. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say Francis Ford Coppola and Megalopolis, but no, we're not there. We're more like like a Ridley Scott doing like Gladiator 2 and Napoleon. It's like they're fine, but we know what Ridley Scott can do, you know? And you look back on his early work and it's just, there's much better stuff there to be had. So is Anderson going to be like that, but be like that earlier? Because then that concerns me about where he's going to be in 20 years. He can't already be treading water. He's too young to tread water. So hopefully he can, whatever he can get back, maybe he needs to get back with some of his older muses. It's been a hot minute since we've seen him do like an Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson movie, and that's where he got started with Bottle Rocket. I've seen his entire filmography. I can say whatever I want. So I've seen every single Wes Anderson movie. So, including all those little Netflix things that he did a while ago, all of the shorts. I didn't like most of them. Some of them were fine. But, yeah, it's... that's what I got. That's what I got for you. Phoenician Scheme is... That's not a pull quote. The Phoenician Scheme is the latest in a trend of Wes Anderson films, leaving the audience wondering if Wes Anderson has forgotten who Wes Anderson is and has now been placed by an AI version of Wes Anderson, told to write and direct in Wes Anderson's style, reminiscent of what once was, but perhaps can never be ever again. With some interesting performances from actors who will always show up to make sure that they check off Anderson's box on their resume. It manages to stay above water through some charming performances, but mostly this doesn't really do anything to curve Anderson's streak of sort of disappointing fare. There you go. I can speak like a critic every once in a while. The Phoenician Scheme. I'm trying to think, like, is this my least favorite above the one film of his that I don't like and then some of, like, the Netflix shorts? It might be. But I'm super stoked for Michael Cera being in this. Like, that is probably the best choice he's made in a long time. And honestly, Mia Thruppleton, I'm not really familiar with her body of work, but I'm really glad I got introduced to her. Del Toro's fine, but he did get kind of upstaged by sort of me being introduced on a broader level to Mia Thruppleton. And I know I've seen her in things before, like she's in The Buccaneers. And Michael Cera, who really should be inspiring. Like, the next movie that Wes Anderson does should just be a Michael Cera, like, centered movie, and go. Make another sort of Rushmore-ish movie type thing with Michael Cera instead of Jason Schwartzman, and see where that goes. But yeah, for now, the audio description was fine because, I mean, there's a lot of text that pops up on screen with, like, what we get in terms of, you know, who has what shares of things. There's some clever little Wes Anderson-isms. I don't want to spoil all of them because they're almost all, like, spoilery, but they're kind of fun. They're these really quirky things, and they're these little sparks that every time he has it, that it clicks. You just go, oh man, you're so close to being there. This film is, it's like you can see that that there's something, that there's a wheel trying to churn in there, because it's like, that's a great Wes Anderson moment, but it's surrounded by like what seems like he's just biding his time till he gets to the moment. Like, it's not a fully baked idea, but he has a couple of really nice scenes in it. So um I know it sounds like, did you like it? Is this fresh or is it rotten? It's like, some films are so close to being in the middle that you're like, I don't know. But because of performances, I tend to remember films more because of performances. Also, I really love actors and I love revisiting performances. A truly great performance can save a deeply mediocre, if not troubled, movie. Um, and I can put that in the. I was the only person who loved Ezra last year because I loved Bobby Cannavale in it. I think I was like the only person who was like, "Have you seen Ezra?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, that was an okay movie. What's up with you? You feeling okay?" I was like, "But Bobby Cannavale is great in it." I was like, "Yeah, he was really good." And I think some people, they're just like, they lose because of the film, and then we lose great performances that way. So I don't like to do that. So, I'm gonna go Phoenician Scheme. We're gonna give it a 6.2 out of 10. I don't think, yeah, it's definitely not his worst. There's Wes Anderson made one movie that I really don't like. He made another one that's about on the same level as this, but it's been a long time since I've seen it and I need to rewatch it. And then yeah, then there's the rest of them that I think, and I would put some of his shorts for Netflix below this. But this is pretty close. Like, I actually did enjoy French Dispatch a little bit more, even though I don't love that movie. I did enjoy Asteroid City a little bit more, even though I don't love that movie. So I don't think we trended upward. Anderson hopefully will trend upward at some point, because I really love Wes, and he has so many of his earlier films are like some of my favorites. Rushmore, The Royal Tenenbaums. I actually love Life Aquatic. Of course, Grand Budapest and Moonrise Kingdom. So he's got some real bangers in there, so to speak. But yeah, this is sadly not one of them. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.